Very warm welcome to everybody present, and I know many people will have travelled a long way to get here, and obviously there are some who are still en route, and we look forward to welcoming them as well. If I could encourage people, please, to make use of all the displays that there are here. There are some very good displays well worth looking at in the breaks that we have. And also, can I mention the Marine Renewable Energy Strategic Framework Geographical Information Systems, that's quite an acronym if I correct myself, mapping system, which is also available throughout the day. And Russell from RPS will be on hand to demonstrate how the system operates. This is the fourth Marine Energy Pembrokeshire annual seminar. And again, as you can see, it proved to be very popular, fully booked, and a wide range of delegates. The aim of the event is to provide an update on the current position of marine energy, specifically in Pembrokeshire, but more widely in Wales as well, and to discuss the priorities moving forward, consistent with Welsh Government policy. And if I could thank the Welsh Government for the sponsorship of this event as well. Things have obviously been gathering pace in this exciting sector. Plans begin to become reality throughout Wales. Just weeks ago, we heard the news of the go-ahead of the multi-million-pound Sea Generation Wales project that has been being delivered by Siemens' own marine current turbines off the coast of Anglesey. Alongside that, Tidal Energy Limited's deployment plans in Ramsey Sound in Pembrokeshire put Wales very firmly on the worldwide map of marine energy development, and we'll be hearing more about that during the course of the day. There are also many other developers looking at tapping into the resource we have off our coasts. In fact, some of those here today look forward to assisting in those very projects. Obviously, this sector will not only help provide clean, sustainable energy, energy security, and help address climate change, but also provide jobs and investment here in Pembrokeshire. And if I could make a specific plug on that as chair of the Haven Waterway Enterprise Zone set up by the Welsh Government, we're very much geared to ensuring that we do not only safeguard existing jobs, but also create new jobs in the energy sector. As you will know, in Pembrokeshire, we have many traditional energy suppliers and sources here with the great petrochemical, perhaps the Minister arriving by air, I'm not sure, petrochemical industry with Merco and Valero, but also a great accent on tidal and renewables, which we're now seeing. Session 1, the first session of today, provides a UK perspective and presentations on how it's rolling out throughout the UK. But in the main, we will be focusing on Wales. Session 2, and David Jones, and thank you, David, for the work you've been doing on this, will be providing details as to how the Session 2 workshops will operate. I think when you arrived, you will have hopefully opted for 2 workshops, one in the morning, one after lunch, and we'll explain how that operates and where those workshops will be operating from. And we've also got some question and answers during the course of the day. Session 3 is where Martin Murphy has the unenviable task of linking all the 4 workshop themes together and detailing how Tidal Energy Limited has addressed them with their Delta Stream project. So obviously a lot will be going on during the course of the day, but that's the way that we hope it will operate. As has been explained, the Minister is making every effort to get here. And I think actually I can see Edwina coming through the revolving door as I speak, so that's very good news. You know how hold-ups on the M4 can delay things. But the first session we have is a statement from industry with Martin Murphy of Tidal Energy Limited explaining the investment criteria and how to capitalise in Wales on the global industry to deliver new jobs and growth. Martin's a graduate in electrical and electronic engineering with an MSc in power electronics. He spent the bulk of his career in the marine sector, firstly as a marine engineering officer in the Royal Navy for 12 years, and then 15 years in industry. He's been heavily involved in projects such as the Queen Mary 2 cruise liner and the Royal Navy's new class of Type 45 destroyer, where the company designed and supplied the ship's electrical propulsion systems. After 2 years as managing director with L3 Communications Marine Systems, Martin has now joined Tidal Energy Limited as Managing Director and will lead the company in the next critical stage of its development, the build and commissioning of its full-scale prototype Delta Steam device. I'm not sure whether we're going to stick to that order of things or whether the Minister will speak first. I think that's probably what will happen. So if you could bank that biography of Martin so that I don't have to repeat it. The Minister needs really little introduction. And I know when people say people need little introduction, then they proceed to give a long one, but I'm not going to do that. Edwina Hart, you know, has been an Assembly member from day one. She's been a Minister from day one. Now, happily, she's doing great work as Minister for Business, Enterprise, Technology and Science. And it's a great delight that despite the difficulties, she's made every effort to be here today. So please give a warm welcome to the Minister.
Well, when I go back to the office this afternoon, I'll be taking up the matter of the M4 and accidents with Carl Sargent, the Transport Minister, I think. But, of course, we all know what a bottleneck it is if there is an accident in Port Talbot in terms of coming further west. That's why, of course, improvements to the M4 are absolutely essential for business, not only just for the Newport and Cardiff area, but, of course, for us further west in terms of development. So, can I say I'm delighted to be here today, delighted to be introduced by Nick Bourne, who, of course, is the chair of the Enterprise Zone here and doing great work in terms of the development of the local economy. And I'm very pleased we were able to establish an enterprise zone in the Haven. I'm particularly delighted as it's the 4th annual seminar of the marine energy Pembrokeshire industry. And of course, Wales has an exceptionally promising marine energy sector, which I think is already beginning to thrive. We have some great businesses, high quality, world-leading technology, excellent R&D and some pioneering projects in the pipeline to include the marine current turbines with their Skerries project, which is really very exciting, the Marine Power Systems project, and here in Pembrokeshire, the Tidal Energy Limited in Ramsey Sound and the Marine Energy Limited at Castle Martin. And I'm delighted to say that 2 weeks ago, the Welsh Government granted a marine licence for the Skerries Tidal Stream project by Marine Current Turbines. And this represents a significant step for Wales in leading the marine energy industry forward in the UK. This is a pioneering project and the first of its kind in the UK, which will hopefully supply up to 10,000 homes with power and provide a welcome boost to the economy of Ynys Môn and North Wales. If the marine energy resource potential is exploited around the Welsh coastline, industry needs to rise to the challenge and capture the business opportunities that marine energy can bring. With our coastline, deep sea ports, accessible grid infrastructure, and the equalisation of 5 ROCs for wave and tidal projects across the UK, Welsh Water is ideally suited to meet the current requirements of the industry and to grow a new industry in Wales. The potential energy yields are absolutely enormous. And when you look at the capacity, particularly around the Severn Estuary, I think that speaks for itself. In February, we launched the second phase of the Welsh Economic Growth Fund, which has the potential to create up to 3,000 jobs and help 200 businesses across Wales. In the first phase, more than 31 million was committed to support 119 businesses around Wales, with the potential to create some 1,800 jobs and safeguard around 1,600 jobs. We want business to take a foothold in this emerging marine market. And I'm pleased to say that the Welsh Government can, through this Jobs and Growth Fund, help businesses de-risk their expansion into this market. It is important to develop our supply chains and create an environment of partnering and collaboration between technology developers and suppliers. It's about making deals with working together to develop new technology and to create new business more quickly. Our aim in developing enterprise zones is to strengthen the competitiveness of the Welsh economy. We made excellent progress, as I've indicated, in the Haven Waterway Enterprise Zone already. We've been able to offer specific incentives to business to locate here and do business. I'm sure you agree with me that these programmes from the Welsh Government represent a big step forward for business in Wales and demonstrate our firm commitment to helping Welsh businesses achieve sustained jobs and growth. Now, research and development plays an important role in stimulating innovation, and innovation is a key driver of productivity. And I'm pleased to announce that our unique coastline resource and constraints mapping tool, known as MRES, designed and created here in Wales, supported by the Welsh Government, has been updated to give developers open access to the online constraints mapping. The online web tools supply developers with information on key development constraints at project level and also allow developers to upload their own GIS data. The recently completed Hart study into the infrastructure needs of the industry has identified a series of options to accelerate the development of the industry in Wales. We are considering all of these options carefully in order to determine how we can support the development of the industry. Developments in technology such as this demonstrate that in Wales we are capable of leading the way and have the skills and knowledge available to us to become industrial leaders. We continue to support the strong partnerships such as Marine Energy Pembrokeshire and Anglesey Energy Ireland, where there are growing job opportunities in the energy sector. Also importantly for me, I do have an energy sector panel within government who advises me on all these matters, and I know that they are now working closely with everyone in the energy sector to look at future job opportunities for Wales. More than anything else, marine energy in Wales represents an opportunity to attract world-class businesses to do business here in Wales, and an opportunity for us to make a bigger impact in the industry. I welcome that very much indeed. I very much welcome your fourth conference here. I hope you'll have a good day of dialogue and discussion, and say to the industry, my door is always open to any of you for any discussions about any future projects you may have that fall within my remit, and if you've got any good ideas about how the government can assist in more innovative ways of funding, I'm always pleased to hear. And as you know, of course, you have Nick Bourne now as Chair of the Enterprise Zone here today, and if there's any suggestions you can usually make to them about what the board needs to do within this area, we'd be delighted if we're able to take them on board. So we have an open door policy from the Welsh Government, and I trust you have an enjoyable day in what is an absolutely, of course, fabulous building for use as well. I do love this building, because some of the old Technion buildings are absolutely beautiful in architectural terms, their openness and everything. It's wonderful to see it being used for this purpose today. So diolch yn fawr I chi.
Not the biography again, but just simply to say it's a great pleasure, first of all, to thank the Minister very much indeed for effectively opening today's proceedings and giving that very clear statement about the Welsh Government's commitment to renewable and specifically to wave and tidal energy. But it's also now a great pleasure to welcome Martin Murphy of Tidal Energy Limited, whose biography you've already heard, who'll be speaking on investment criteria and how to capitalise in Wales on a global industry. Thanks,
Martin. Minister, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to you, and thank you indeed for this opportunity to say a few words from industry to really hopefully set the scene from the industrial perspective for today's conference. As most of you, I think, will know, Tidal Energy Limited is a technology development company preparing to install our tidal stream energy device here in Pembrokeshire in Ramsey Sound towards the end of this year. Our progress to here today has had its ups and downs, which are not atypical of the challenges we face in being able to ultimately demonstrate the commercial viability of marine renewable energy. I'd like to share some of our experiences with you, if you like, from the bridge of our ship as we try to steer it into metaphorical smooth waters, because actually, as most of you will also know, the waters of Ramsey Sound are far from smooth. The first issue for us is the technical challenge, predicated by the fact that we are going into a very hostile environment, by definition putting high capital equipment into harm's way. For today, I will put to one side the issues associated with tidal barrages and lagoons, and note that my comments really apply to the marine renewable concepts of tidal stream and wave energy. The technical concepts may be perceived as simple, but the execution is complex and carries high risk. Happily, however, there is increasing evidence that the technology solutions will be successful. Developers are getting operating hours under their belt to prove that it can be done. In tidal stream, we've heard already of mention of marine current turbines, and today, particularly in the context of Welsh interest in the marine renewable sector, marine current turbines have shown with their CGen device in Strangford Lough in Northern Ireland that the technology will work. Others, such as Tidal Generation Limited and Andritz Hammerfest, are actively testing their devices in Scotland at EMEC, the European Marine Energy Centre. On the wave energy side, notable progress is being made by Aquamarine Power and Polaris, both with large-scale prototype devices at sea and being tested. For us, in TEL, we are focused on getting our prototype into the water to demonstrate our own intellectual property, and really, of interest to us here today, is get the industry underway in Wales. To be honest, there's some catching up to be done when we see what progress has been made in Scotland. The next point is the environmental agenda. As an industry, we have to investigate and understand the potential impact of marine renewable devices on the very sensitive environment which we are trying to exploit for its energy potential. Again, I feel able to give positive feedback to date, in that the experience of other developers, some of which I've already mentioned, is not showing up adverse impacts insofar as we can tell at this stage. There are special challenges in Pembrokeshire, as we are working in a marine special area of conservation, in addition to the European and national designations affording very appropriate protection to the marine environment. We have much to learn, and it is with satisfaction that we, as a technology developer, have been able to engage constructively with the regulatory and consulting authorities, specifically the Marine Consents Unit in the Welsh Government and the Countryside Council for Wales, in agreeing an approach for our programme which we know as Deploy and Monitor. I'm sure that much will be discussed in this context here today, but there is one slight disturbance pending, but we do hope for a smooth transition of the authorities into the new single body, Natural Resources Wales. But for a small company like ours, small at the moment, hopefully going to be big, perhaps the biggest challenge we face is the constant quest for finance. But again, happily, I can report that grant capital has been forthcoming from UK and the devolved authorities to provide the financial push to get test and prototype devices into the water. In our case, specifically, we are fortunate and grateful to have been awarded funding by the Welsh European Funding Office, or WEFO, sourced from European structural funds and specifically the European Regional Development Fund. Without it, I am certain that I would not be here to speak of our progress today. We are truly grateful. It has been an enabling source of funding for us, made possible by the Welsh Government's clear desire to promote the development of marine renewable energy. And indeed now, as we look to the next round of structural fund allocation from Brussels from 2014 onwards, it's very gratifying to see that the government here proposes to continue its support with a specific line of funding intended for the continued development of marine renewables, pressing us ever closer to that holy grail of commercial scale. There is, though, uncertainty in the market provisions yet to emerge from the Energy Bill for electricity market reform. It is crucially important legislation for the industry, which will define the market support mechanisms to replace the current Renewable Obligation Certificate scheme by the Contract for Difference feed-in tariff. We expect clarity later this year when the proposed tariffs are announced around July, in the middle of the year, but it's clear that there is nervousness and concern in the investor community affecting confidence. Let us hope for strong and effective policy which will properly excite the market pull to stimulate investment which we need. A key part of the investment question, though, is not just in the technology solution provided by the developers, but there must be a means of getting the generated energy to the user. In Wales, in the marine sector, I think we can look to issues of grid access and infrastructure support, for example, the ports and manufacturing capabilities which are apparent to us, positively. Much work has been commissioned by government to explore these matters in detail, but put simply, the fact that we're looking to develop the marine resource in North and South Wales, close to population centres where grid access is fundamentally good, suggests to me that the prospects of realising that energy potential are in turn very good, and perhaps will have an easier path to being realised than has the troubled progress of onshore wind development. But to close this brief industry perspective, as the focus of companies like TEL is to seek proof of technology concepts, additionally, and extremely significantly in the past year, we have seen entry into the sector of global-scale engineering corporations, taking ownership or majority shareholdings in technology development companies like ours. Siemens, Alstom, Lockheed Martin, ABB, Andritz Hydro, and DCNS from France are now all major players. And these institutions will, in my view, ensure that in simple terms, this industry happens. They bring strength in depth in resources, able to propel the engineering solutions forward, and give balance sheet strength, able to instill momentum for major capital investment in project development. They will be able to underwrite the technical warranties that the project developers demand, as they in turn endeavour to deliver commercial scale generating capacity. So more than ever, I believe that there is a great opportunity to create an industry, to create jobs and add value to the economy. I, for one, look forward to our discussions and debate today in the context of making this happen, not only in Pembrokeshire, but also in Wales. Thank you.